So, it's been a very peculiar week in the Premier League this week. We've had Arsenal lose to Bournemouth, Saliba sent off, he's now out for 3 games. We've had City nearly get a draw to Wolves. Liverpool beat Chelsea, and Manchester United, well, Eric Ten Hag has saved his job so far. So, I think all round a pretty good week in the Premier League. West Ham obviously got battered by Tottenham. That is Mohamed Kudus also out for 3 games with a straight red card. So, not good for West Ham. And Arsenal both got beaten with players sent off. So that is now 2 games in 2 days in the weekend of the Premier League where 2 players have been sent off. I mean, it was entertaining. It was an entertaining week for the Premier League. Obviously, with that Saliba red card, it sort of opens up the title race a bit more, because next week, after a Champions League clash with Shakhtar Donetsk, Arsenal play Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium. Obviously, last season they played Liverpool twice at the Emirates Stadium with an FA Cup fixture that Liverpool won, and they beat Liverpool 3-1, if I'm correct, at the Emirates in the Premier League. And at Anfield, Liverpool drew to Arsenal in December of 2023. So, I want to get your opinion. Did I mention Liverpool versus Chelsea that finished 2-1?
I don't think you did, I don't think you did.
So, first, I want to get your opinion on how wide that title race is now open due to the red card of William Saliba. Go.
Well, it's a massive loss for Arsenal, isn't it? Especially coming up to play in Liverpool next weekend. Massive loss. He's one of their key players, absolutely key players. So, obviously he's going to be a miss in that team for them. There's no getting around that he will be a big loss. So, bad news for him, really.
Yeah, definitely. It is really bad news. I'm just looking at the fixtures for next week. Obviously, we've got Arsenal playing Liverpool at the Emirates. That could be a really tough game for Liverpool, as it is at the Emirates, and Arsenal have been pretty good at the Emirates this season. The week after that, Arsenal play Newcastle. That can also be a very tough clash, because Newcastle can test teams at times. Obviously, testing Man City at St James's Park. This game so happens to be at St James's Park. So, it could be that Newcastle give Arsenal a massive test at St James's Park. We never know what that could result in. But for the next sort of 3 weeks in the Premier League, Arsenal play Chelsea the week after they play Newcastle. So I think that's also at the Emirates. So they could win. They could lose 2 games against Chelsea and Liverpool, or they could win 2 games against Newcastle and Chelsea. It's going to be a very tough game against Liverpool, because I do think that Liverpool will test them quite a lot. But moving on to how Man City have done over, obviously, the last couple of weeks. They, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, drew to Newcastle 1-1 at St James's Park. That was a result that I didn't think was going to happen. They just about won against Fulham before the international break. And then, yesterday, they beat Wolves just 2-1. So, they've been tested at the minute. Obviously, it's the effect with Rodri out team that has really affected Man City. And I do think that it will affect them, obviously, throughout the season because they've got big games coming up. They've got Liverpool in December, at the start of December. They've still got Man United to play, but that might not be a tough game for them because, let's be honest, Manchester United haven't been in the greatest form of recent. But what do you think? So, do you think that they're starting to, not sort of downfall, but how badly do you think this Rodri injury is affecting Man City?
I think excuse me. I think if there's any team in the Premier League, Ev, that can cope with injuries, that it's going to be Man City. As we've seen yesterday, they always just seem to be able to find a way to win. I was utterly convinced that they were going to score, and so that happened, and they did. Obviously, Rodri would be a miss in any team, but what I'm saying is that if there's a team equipped to be able to deal with injuries, that it's Man City with the squad they've got and the depth that they've got in the squad. I think they'll be more than able to cope with it, although they will miss him because any team in the world would miss him.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm sure Man City will be fine, as they've shown whilst he's been out. They just keep winning. They're just an absolute machine. Just find ways to win games when you think maybe they're going to drop points, and then they don't. So it's just what they do, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. They play Sparta Prague this week in the Champions League. I think that'll be a win for them. And, yeah, as you just said there, they do find a lot of ways just to win a game like that. John Stones did score in the death of the game. He scored in the dying minutes of the game. It was late on, and John Stones has been a saviour for Man City in the past few weeks, obviously with a goal against Arsenal, and that did save them because they would have lost if he didn't score that, definitely. But with this game yesterday, Wolves, now talking about Wolves, they still haven't won a game in the Premier League. We're now 8 games, I think it is, into the Premier League season, and they still haven't carved a win out. They're still bottom of the league, still only on, I think it's just a point for Wolves at the minute, and this is not the Wolves we're used to seeing. Obviously, they've sold some significant players in the past, Pedro Neto being one of them in the summer of this year. They've obviously sold Raul Jimenez in the past, Adama Traore, so it's bound to affect them. And they don't have the greatest squad in the Premier League. They've bought Andre from Fluminense in the summer, and I don't really think... I mean, he's had an impact. He did win, Player of the Match or Player of the Month for them. And, I mean... one player isn't just gonna turn you around. They haven't really made any sort of significant signing. I think they could be heading back down to the Championship next season because I don't think that. I mean, they might not, but they're in that sort of realm.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised by how badly Wolves have started. Are we still in with starting? Have we gone a bit further than that? Whatever.
Still a new season.
Obviously, they're never going to be like a top 6 club or anything like that, but I didn't expect them to have this bad a start and to be down there anchored at the bottom on 1 point at this stage. Didn't really think that they would be in any trouble of being relegated, but clearly they're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Strange one, really. But like you say, I think you've hit the nail on the head, Av, about the players that they've sold. They've just got rid of too many big players to be able to cope, really, I think, is the point.
Yeah, as you said there, top 6 club. They were in the Europa League for a short amount of time a few years ago, but I completely agree with that. They're never going to be a top 6 team. They have beaten the likes of Man City, just got a draw, they got a draw to Liverpool in the past, a game which they should have probably deserved to win. And I just think they've sold too many players, they've sold too many key players, and I just don't think they're that sort of team anymore. I think, Obviously, it happened with Leeds about a season ago. They got relegated. They're still in the Championship. Leeds did, dropped a massive bummer. They sold Rafinha to Barcelona. He was one of their best players. And I just think stuff like that can really affect a team. Obviously, clubs in the past have sold big players and it's really affected them. Aston Villa obviously did sell Jack Grealish a few years ago to Man City, and that hasn't really affected them as much as I thought it would. I mean, they're obviously doing really well for themselves right now, but with Wolves, they're not a team that can afford to sell big players. Selling the likes of Pedro Neto, Adama Traore. Adama Traore is probably one of the fastest players in that team, and probably one of the best players in that team. Obviously, before Raul Jimenez had his potentially career-ending injury, which it obviously didn't end his career, but when he had that injury, he was off for a long period of time, and that made him, would you say, a bit worse? I mean,
yeah, a massive injury like that, especially a head injury, is going to affect anybody.
Yeah.
Excuse me. But excuse me. The problem is with teams like Wolves, when they have big players, they're always going to go elsewhere. They're going to struggle to keep hold of these players because they want to go to the bigger clubs. So it's always going to be a struggle for teams like Wolves to keep hold of these star players.
Yeah, of course.
Unfortunately, that's the way of the world. Unfortunately, that they want to play at a big club. Players want a chance to win trophies. They want a chance to play in Europe.
Yeah.
So it's understandable. But certainly didn't expect Wolves to be struggling like this.
Yeah. Wolves. I'm looking at it here. Wolves haven't won a game. They've drawn 1 and lost 7. So it's relegation form. Really,
it is without a shadow
really
of a doubt. Yeah,
they've lost.
It is.
They've lost 5 games in the last 5. I'm a bit surprised with Crystal Palace actually, because they're 18th after 7 games they played tonight. Their last 5, 3 draws and 2 losses. I'm really surprised by their form. They still haven't won a game, which I'm really surprised with. Obviously, again with selling big players, they did sell Michael Olise to Crystal Palace in the summer. No, they didn't. Sorry, they sold him to Bayern Munich. I got a bit mixed up there. He's thriving in the Bayern Munich team. I thought that'd be a struggle for him, but he's doing really well. He scored 4 goals for Bayern Munich so far, which is a really good start to his career at Bayern Munich. But they have sold him, and that has really affected them clearly. Obviously, they've still got Jean-Philippe Mateta and Eberechi Eze, but that's 2 players, and the squad they've got, it's just not really good enough. Same thing with Wolves. Daniel Munoz, not the best player. They've Mark Guehi. He was good for England in the Euros, but it's the likes of they signed Eddie Nketiah in the summer on a loan deal, and Trevor Chalobah from Chelsea. You'd think they'd be doing well, that sort of squad, but they're just not.
Excuse me, I've got a real frog in my throat. I do apologise. I'm a little bit with you on that, Ev, because they seem to be doing really well. Is it Glasner, the manager?
Glasner, yeah.
Seemed to be doing really well under him at the end of last season, and like you say, I'm also a bit surprised that they're not doing better. So maybe they'll pick up. I think Palace will be all right. I don't think Palace will be in any trouble with relegation or anything. So I think they'll be okay in the end, Ev.
Yeah. They'll probably start to pick a bit of form up. Southampton, that's a given. They're in the relegation zone. Ipswich surprised me very much. They did lose 2-0 to Everton on Saturday. Everton have started to pick a bit of form up after a really crap start to the season, but they did lose to Everton 2-0, but their form has really surprised me because they have done better than I ever thought they would. Their last games have been a 2-0 loss to Everton, a 4-1 loss at West Ham, not good at all. But then Ipswich Town, Aston Villa 2-2. That's a great result. Southampton 1, Ipswich 1. Again, a great result. Brighton 0, Ipswich 0. Great result. Ipswich 1, Fulham 1. Great result. They did lose in the EFL Cup, but that's actually good form for a team like Ipswich. They've really surprised me. Their start to the season has really surprised me.
Yeah, they're going to struggle. Let's be honest, they're going to struggle to stay up in the Premier League. But they're making a decent go of it. They've picked up a few draws here and there. So yeah. I thought that they would be the one that would be the worst out of the promoted clubs, but obviously that seems to be Southampton.
Yeah, definitely.
Massively struggling. But yeah, Ipswich are having a go, so that's good to see.
Yeah, that's all that matters. Final point is the game that went on yesterday between Liverpool and Chelsea. Chelsea have obviously been in great form, and it was probably disappointing for most Chelsea fans, probably all Chelsea fans, that they lost that game. They did score a goal with Nicholas Jackson, but it wasn't enough to beat Liverpool. Liverpool did score 2 goals, a Mohamed Salah penalty and a Curtis Jones goal as well. And that keeps Liverpool top of the league, which at the minute is good. It's really good, in fact, because Arne Slot's 8 games at Liverpool so far have been very good. Obviously, I think the only negative thing about our season so far is that loss to Nottingham Forest. Because apart from that, we've been so good. We've been probably one of the best teams in the league.
I think that's fair to say. Still haven't drawn a game, apart from the little blip against Forest. Won every game. I think that was the first proper real test under Arne Slot yesterday, playing Chelsea. Got through it. I think the next month or so and going into December is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
Got Arsenal at the weekend.
Everton.
We've got Champions League game coming up in midweek. We play City at the beginning of December. So it's really starting to kick in now, the big games. So we'll see where they are after these games. And then I think if we get to Christmas and they're still there or thereabouts, then we can start thinking about an actual
title
attempt
race.
at winning the title, I think, yeah?
Yeah. Liverpool have had a great season so far. Just want to say one more thing. This is my last point. Manchester United, it was vital that they won that game against Brentford on Saturday because obviously their form over the course of the season, over the course of these 8 games that have been played so far, hasn't been good at all. If they don't win that game on Saturday, if they didn't win that game, on Saturday, they did go 1-0 down. Manchester United fans were furious with a decision that was made. Matthijs de Ligt did get an injury. And the game was played on. And Brentford scored from a corner, I think it was. So they were furious about that. But in the end, they won the game, and Ten Hag's job is safe for just a little bit longer. But we will have to see what happens over the course of the next few weeks with Manchester United because he's safe for now, but I can't see him lasting the season.
No, I feared the worst for him at half time on Saturday when they were 1 down again.
Feared the worst?
Yeah, I feared the worst for him.
Oh, okay.
But then they obviously managed to turn it round. I'm not sure how much longer it can go on where they're just pulling games out the bag like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll have to see. They may pick up. They may start picking up a few results. You don't know, do you? We'll just have to see.
Yeah, exactly. We will just have to see what happens. But he could stay the season, but he might go. Manchester United might look for a new candidate for managing.